everybody, and welcome back to Potluck Economics. And this is setting up for a very exciting episode as we're going to be diving into world markets, the politics that intertwine them. And I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to set up the foundation for this next run in cryptocurrency, which I really do think that we're prepping up for. And it's a really awesome time for me to be finishing my project as I am really on the final stages of just perfecting everything before the first initial release, which I know a lot of you guys are excited for. Nobody's more excited about releasing this thing than I am. At the end of the video, we'll dive into where I am at with the project, and I'll kind of show a few more features which I have been adding to it, and then I'll talk about what's left until we do get this thing launched, because we're on the cusp of launching it, but that is soon to come. But before we really dive into that, we got to talk about world markets. We got to talk about what's going on and why I think right now is the time to really be watching the market. And I don't really get on and talk on this YouTube channel as much as I would like, but as I do finish my project, I will be coming on more and more often to really break down the market. And I really think this stagnation within the cryptocurrency market has given me the opportunity to prep. And I think that with all the prepping that I have done, with the excitement that is about to unfold, we'll be in a really good position to run with it. So what excitement am I really prepping for? Now, let's talk about cryptocurrency as an asset. There's a lot of people that saw the bubble of cryptocurrency, and I was lucky enough to get into cryptocurrency as an asset before the bubble. You know, I invested in cryptocurrency at $1,000. I watched it go all the way up to 20,000. I did very well with my investing during that time. But then I also saw the fall of cryptocurrency from the highs of 20,000 to where we are today. And I guess one of the most exciting things about cryptocurrency as an asset is the extreme volatility that you can see within this asset. The extreme highs, the extreme lows, and that in between, as a financial trader, as a day trader, that in between from the highs and the lows, all that in between is profits, profits, profits. That's all I can see. And what my goal is to capture as much of that in between as possible. But in order to do that successfully, you need to look outside of just cryptocurrency. You need to look at the whole financial market as a entity. You need to break it down into different sections, and then you have to see what other assets are doing in correlation to the main asset that you are trading. Now, there's a lot of people within my community that love cryptocurrency, and I don't blame you. If you're trying to make money fast in this industry, you will not get better returns than cryptocurrency. But it's one of those things that you need to go into with a game plan, or you will come out with a bunch of losses. It's high risk, high return. But what do I see unfolding within the world market? And I think that this is the thing that you really need to focus on. This past week, we have seen a downslide within the Dow Jones and with other major financial markets. I think that you need to be looking at the whole world and each individual country, the major players, and how their markets are really holding up. For example, we can look at Europe. Their manufacturing numbers have been at a really bad low. You can look at China. They have definitely been on the prep of a recession for some time. And with the trade war between US and China, and I don't see that getting resolved, I think that that is going to exacerbate the issues within China. And I think that you're going to see that market continue to take a hit going into 2020 and a little later on. And I think that it bleeds out into other countries. If China isn't doing good, then you're going to see Australia, for example, not do good, because Australia supplies a lot of the raw material needed for the extreme housing explosion that was seen within China. And as that slows down, and as they are not building these mega cities at the rate that they currently are, you are starting to see the raw material within Australia's market really take a hit. So I think that one of the biggest things that came out this week that is really prepping for a downturn within all financial markets is that you're really looking at the yield curve. And I'll throw it up on the screen so that you can see it. But the yield curve is a very important indicator that a lot of economic majors use to really decide what is going to happen. And they use it in a lot of a sense to predict the recessions going back 30 plus years. And it has been a rock solid indicator in predicting the next recession. And we're just starting to see the flippening of the yield curve, signifying a recession is about to take place. And the time frame on such a event has been within a year of the yield curve flippening. So the timer's starting to count down, and in prep of this, we are positioned for a really good opportunity to make some money. But it's all about how you line up your chips, all about the strategy you create at this point, which is going to signify how you are going to last throughout the next recession, which is imminent. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to look at some markets, we're going to create a game plan, and I'm going to tell you what I am doing in prep of this recession that is on the cusp of taking place. So let's first talk about why is this recession taking place. I've already talked about the world markets. I think that is a very important thing to continue to focus on. But let's talk about another thing which I think is just as important, which is the politics. And a lot of people, they don't focus on the world politics taking place in particular to world markets, but that is how I have made the most money, has been micro focusing on politics within the US and other countries. And if you can line up your assets in relation to politics, that makes money. And what do I see going on? I think that this week has been a very important week for the Trump administration. And we're going to talk about Trump for a little bit because there have been a lot of good things Donald Trump has done for the U.S. economy. We have seen a lot of awesome growth in reference to all of the other world markets. We have been holding our own as one of the better countries to really hold your assets in reference to other outside countries during the Trump administration. But I think that with the Mueller report ending, and there was no Trump-Russia collusion that took place, and his findings aren't going to set forth an impeachment. You have to be looking at the establishment. And if you don't believe in establishment, then I'm going to be talking out of nowhere. But for the people that do see that there are a handful of people who control the majority of the wealth, who can move markets, you have to be looking at what those people think about Donald Trump and his administration. And from what you can gather from the big players within the market, a lot of the big financial juggernauts that are able to move markets, they are not fond of the Trump administration. And for this reason, the one major winning point that Donald Trump has is been his economy and how he has set up the U.S. to grow. And if they can take that away from him, and if they can put the Dow Jones, if they put these markets in a tailspin, they could really hurt Donald Trump where it matters. And they could set up for a win, because they are starting to figure out now that they're not going to win via the Russia investigation. That's not enough to stop Donald Trump from winning his next term. So in order to set up a way so that they actually stand a chance against Donald Trump in this next election, they need to start putting their chips in line right now to basically hurt the economy, so that they can use that as a catalyst to get who they want into office and to get Donald Trump out. And I really do believe that. And I think going from this point onward, because we're starting to get to the tail end where you're getting a lot of the Democratic candidates who are starting to campaign at this point. We're at the tail end of Donald Trump's first term, and he's going to start campaigning. But in order to really hurt him where it matters, they need to derail the economy. And it's going to start now, and it's going to continue until after the elections are done. And I think that that is definitely something that everybody needs to be putting in their equation as they're lining up their assets. So in prep of this volatility that we are about to expect within the stock market, a good alternative asset would be cryptocurrency, the gold market, or cash. Those are the three things which I am currently very focused on right now. So let's dive into the Dow Jones. So the Dow Jones, it's at a point where we had an amazing run back from what was a tailspin down. But the only thing is at these levels, we really don't have anything to hold on to. We're out of a lot of channels. I'm going to take this off, but we're out of a lot of channels, and there really isn't much that we can do to basically figure out where we are heading within, this market, and to kind of create a game plan. The only thing that I can say, which I could kind of create, was this red line right here as hopefully a floor that we can bounce off of. But in order to reach that level, I think that we're definitely got a lot of losses to take within the stock market. And I think that we could definitely expect a 4% loss going into these next few weeks within the Dow Jones. And I think it's going to bleed off more within individual companies. But I definitely am very, very worried about our current state. I do think that we are definitely really far from the trend line. We got up over, but I think we're going to start to get the cross back down. And that's really what I'm afraid of. And if we break from this red point, I think that that's really when you need to be worried. Is if we can't hold this floor, I would definitely be lined up with not having any assets within the stock market because it could be a very deadly time to have assets from below this point. Because you could really experience some sharp losses if we really start breaking this floor, and then it's hard to tell the bottom from that point because there's nothing really left to catch us. So that's what I'm looking at as far as the Dow Jones is concerned. But let's dive into a few other financial markets, and we'll kind of get a better idea of what is going on. All right, so one of the best indicators that I love to micro focus on is going to be wedges and channels. And if you look at the gold market, we can definitely see an amazing wedge form. And this has been a long extending wedge since 2013 all the way to what is going to be, going close to 2020. Yeah, 2020 is going to be the time that we could really start to see the explosion within the gold market. So at these levels, I'm going to be holding off on picking up any more gold assets. I think that we are in a good point to get a little bit of return, but I'm hoping that we can get that floor catched on the Dow Jones. We can get rejected one more time on this gold market, and I've been looking very, very closely to catch the floor one more time before our breakout. So I think going into the next election cycle, this wedge lines up perfectly, which gives me more validity to really claim that this is going to be a very politically driven recession, and it could provide a good opportunity if you watch it to really make some good returns. So I hope it doesn't, if we do end up crossing this, and I say if we break this high again, I would be going all into gold, and I would be riding it all the way up to the extremes, because I think that gold is going to have a breakout, but it's all about timing within getting into this gold market. And I think if we do get our rejection at this top wedge one more time, it would be very, very beneficial for this asset. And I think that you could definitely get some returns going down. And if you catch the bottom of this wedge one more time, going into the highs, it's an easy 30% return, 35. The only thing that I want to, clarify with the gold market is that the gold market is a very, very slow moving asset. So versus cryptocurrency, versus the stock market or anything else, don't expect the extremes in reference to gold. Gold gradually moves, but in a recession, it is definitely a key asset to hold in reference to any other asset versus stocks or anything else. It's a really safe play. And in recessions, the safest play is usually the best. So that's why I'm really focused on the gold market. I think that the same could be said with the silver market, but I'm not going to dive into the silver because they kind of correlate very closely together, the gold and the silver market. So diversifying a little bit into silver ETFs would be a really good idea also, or just holding on to gold. Now, in all honesty, this is the one asset I am most excited about. I've been in blockchain for a long time, and I've been waiting for this moment because it has just been a brutal market for the past year. And it's finally at a point where we have exasperated a lot of our losses. We've consolidated, we're floating in limbo, and this very much reminds me of a spring where, you know, you get this limbo that takes on for a long time, and in such a volatile asset, this does not last, you know, and you are going to get a shot up or a shot down. And the last, you know, I guess spring-like event was basically this going down. And then we had the spring which shot down, and then now we're just floating again. But I think that we're at a really good point to break out. And this is what I'm hoping for cryptocurrency. I like the way that we're holding the 7-day moving average. I'm going to close these off, and I'm going to bring this in. I like how we have gone above this wedge. We're holding this angle very nicely. And I think that this is definitely the asset to be looking at in prep of the recession, or in prep of the volatility that we're about to expect within the stock market. And I think that the real important thing to notice with cryptocurrency is that cryptocurrency hasn't really gone through a recession time. We have gone through the bubble, which is the biggest bubble that cryptocurrency has gone through, but it wasn't driven from the need of getting out of all other markets. You know, the market was good during this time. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't terrible. You know, we're on prep of a terrible market. And whenever that happens, you know, the cryptocurrency was created during the housing bubble and the explosion that happened, you know, as a tool to basically get back at the banks and to provide an asset that isn't controlled by, you know, a centralized government or a centralized entity. This is supposed to be a better alternative for currencies in general. And I think that during a recession, I think that this is going to receive amazing returns like we have never seen within the cryptocurrency market. I think it's going to put this run to shame. If things get really bad, you're going to see cryptocurrency hit new highs. You're going to see new life come back into this market. And I would definitely not count cryptocurrency out at this point. I think that you definitely need to be safe on how you invest in cryptocurrency. You know, it's a high risk, high return game, but I am definitely buying positions at this point. I'm definitely, you know, waiting for the shoot up, and I think that we can definitely get back to the $6,000 mark. I would love for that to happen, and I think that that is going to be coming soon. I think that you should also be looking at Litecoin with their halving that is about to take hold. I think that that's a very interesting experience. I think that there's going to be a lot of money made on Litecoin halving, and I would definitely be selling not the day that it happens, but going up towards it. I would sell, and then I think after the halving takes place, you're going to get a drop, and I would be buying up during that time, and I would be storing more Litecoin. But right now, this is where I'm at with cryptocurrency. I think in reference to any of the other financial markets, you look at cryptocurrency, which is sitting at $0.14 trillion market cap, versus the gold market, which is sitting at a $60 trillion market cap. And then you could look at just the cash market cap, which is sitting at $80 trillion market cap. It's a no-brainer that there is more growth to come for cryptocurrency. And I think that as we get the collapse of all these other markets, this is going to be the one to be in. And one more thing to bring out in reference to cryptocurrency before I end it is I would definitely be focusing on the main cryptocurrencies. I would not go after any really altcoin, speculative coin, or anything of that nature. I think that the first initial runs are directly going to benefit the main players within the industry. I think that you're going to need to be looking at the top 20 coins and just be focusing on investing in those. I think that Bitcoin's going to be the bigger runner out of all of them. I think that Ethereum is also going to be a really good runner, and then Litecoin, and then you might see some other of the big market caps really get some love first. But as an experienced cryptocurrency trader, I watched the initial run back at this point, and it was very bizarre because the altcoin market wasn't able to keep up with the gains that Bitcoin was getting in the beginning, because everything has to be bought through Bitcoin before it enters in an altcoin. So you would see the huge gains in cryptocurrency and in Bitcoin directly, and then after you got all of these huge gains at the downturn, this is whenever you saw the altcoin market really gain its market share. So I think that history tends to repeat itself, and going into this next run, as you are positioning your investments, I would definitely be focused on the main currencies, not really venturing too far off into other altcoins, and then eventually getting into altcoins after you see that initial run in the main assets, and then directly investing into more speculative investments where you could get a better return, and you can compound your return if you end up going for the main investments and then moving into the more speculative investments after the initial run of the main investments. So with all that, let's dive into some of my work, where I'm at with the project, and we'll really get a better idea of what is to come as I am prepping for the release of my community application. Alright, so most people don't care about the code, but I will love to show off some of the things that I've actually done and implemented into the project. So one of the things that you will note now is we have search functionality. What about this? I think that this is a really awesome integration within the project. So you could pick different time frames, you could do search, and bam, it will cycle through and it will pick out all the new stuff within that time frame. You can also search based on keywords, which is an awesome new addition. You could search depending on the main coin. So if I just want to do BTC as the main coin, and I'm going to pull up anything with BTC as the first initial coin. So that makes it really easy to find assets, news on assets, or anything of that nature. Other than that, we've made more leaps into the actual blog itself, so we can allow replies. And I really wanted to set up a foundation for the individual content creator to really gear the conversation the way that they want. So to be able to block certain things that aren't contributing to the discussion, to really make it flow better, I really, instead of having the social media network really be in charge of that, I wanted to give that power to the individual content creator. So other than that, we got keywords over here, so you can add new keywords. I'll type in YouTube, and you'll see what happens as I post this. Okay, so I'm just going to create this quick test post, and you can see that I put one of the keywords as YouTube. I'm going to put post, and we'll go back, and then as we bring this up, we will be able to search. And if we just type in YouTube, we do a quick search, and then we should get that post, which should pop up. So all of these have a keyword of YouTube within it. Cool. So other than that, I added Redux onto the application. So if we could pull up the post that I just created, which is a test video making post. But if I wanted to comment on it, and I think this is really cool, I want you to look in the right-hand corner. I will get alerted that somebody commented. So as soon as I post the reply, we will see the right-hand corner, and it's going to go up. And now I have a new post. So now we have the ability to check replies, and then we could see what people are saying. And then you could say, I just replied to the post. If I don't like it, I could block it. And then it blocks the individual post. So if I go to check the post, that is gone. Where if I go back again and I unblock it and I check the post, you can see that the post is back. So that's how that works. I also made it so that users have the ability to edit their posts. So over here, you get a log of the actual posts that you made, the blog, and then you can pull down and see all the comments that people are posting on it. If they're embedding stuff or anything like that, it also shows up. And then you could click on this and you can edit it, and then you could change it up however you want it. So I find this really cool. So we got the blog pretty much all figured out. Other than that, if I go into API, we have an API for everything. So we can pull it up, and this will be very instrumental in getting the market sentiment, as I will be able to go into the different categories of the different cryptocurrencies, go into what people are saying on particular topics, and then I could set up a TensorFlow or any other AI, learning material to really be able to get a better idea of sentiment and to take and create graphs around the sentiment to get an idea of what is going on with the community, to see what their thoughts are on a particular subject. So I think that this is going to be very, very helpful in basically breaking down this application and to set up a foundation so that we could really expand later on. Other than that, we do have more that I've been working on. I really don't want to unveil everything. This video is already starting to get really long. But expect a huge product update on the application very soon and the release. And hopefully we can get a lot of you guys moved on over to it, because it's going to be a free platform. And I think that you guys are really going to get some value out of everything after it's all said and done and completed, because we got a bunch of really awesome sponsorships that I've been working on integrating. So we will have trading bots, embedded directly into the application so that you can interact with the community, jump on, work on your trading bot, and then do a lot of other really cool things. And you'd have a really awesome hub to trade, to talk with other people, to create conversation, and to become a better investor. And with that, I want to thank you guys for everything that you've done in supporting the Crypto Potluck. Thank you for watching. I've been paying attention. A lot of people that watch these videos, you don't subscribe, so please subscribe. Do me a favor, just click that subscribe button. Like it if you like this video, if you got some information out of it. But at the end of the day, you are your own investor. Thank you guys for watching.